Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I have with me a very special guest, Manuri Anthonis. She's the director of marketing for Bounce Middle East. Bounce is the world's leading trampoline park. We discussed performance marketing, social media, the ins and outs of having the in-house team working with freelancers or agencies. We talked about trends, what's happening in the market, different strategies to grow. Tune in and enjoy the episode. Manuri Anthonis.
Anthonis. Got it right.
Welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You feel it?
Yeah. Feeling the vibe, feeling the leaves.
Exactly. Who is Manuri and what do you do for a living?
Wow. Big question. What do I do for a living?
Everything's big here.
I know. I know.
We can get you bigger microphones as well.
It's the one thing that's missing. What do I do for a living? Look, I'm a marketeer through and through. I started my career out in from being a marketing exec and grew through the years throughout my career, 20 plus years to where I am now. And currently I'm director of marketing for Bounce in the Middle East region.
What is Bounce?
For people who don't know what Bounce is, we are basically the world's leading freestyle terrain park. Aussie brand. So we've got over 30 venues across about 16 different countries. And it's a good time to come jump and express yourself.
For what age is Bounce?
Bounce is for everybody. Walking age to 70 plus. You can be whatever age.
70 plus.
Yeah, why not?
Is it healthy for the
It is
for the back and
spine, it is. I mean, look,
knees.
if it's actually especially good for your knees because that rebounding exercise doesn't hurt your joints.
Really?
So yeah, you can trampoline into your 90s.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they say 30 minutes on a tramp is equal to about 30 minutes of running.
Funny because they say running is not good at all for the knees.
Yeah.
And then bouncing is good for the knees.
It's because it's rebound. It takes the pressure off your knees. The trampoline actually.
Content for social.
There you go.
Man, I'm seriously because I told you I injured my back, my neck.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
And I was like, okay, I never go to a trampoline park again because I'm always worried that it's actually not healthy for my back.
No,
again.
it's really good. It's really good for your joints.
Voila.
I'll see you at Bounce.
Nice. Hey, yeah. How did you first start promoting Bounce?
Big question. So this is, I mean, look, we can go back in history and kind of, talk about 2014 when the very first Bounce was opened in Dubai. But in that time, I think Bounce was the only trampoline park in the UAE. So they had the first mover advantage. They had a couple of other small fries, but no one as big, not a global brand that was landing in the country. And I think when they launched, they went big, mix of digital and traditional media and PR and everything to support it, and that's how it was promoted. But then once it got to a certain stage in its life cycle, all other types of mediums fell out, and it was just pure digital. And that's what we continue to today as well. So all our venues are promoted purely using digital, and we smatter in PR and traditional media strategically when we do launches.
Okay. So today you promote Bounce purely on digital.
Yeah.
What type of channels?
Across all your social channels, and obviously your traditional, Google search, GDN, all those types of campaigns.
Okay.
Yep.
And social ads and organic?
Yep, absolutely. So we do a mix of paid and organic.
Okay. And the organic stuff, you boost them or you don't?
Nope, never.
No.
Nope, don't believe in boosting.
No?
Nope.
Why not?
Because our content, we're lucky because our content is extremely engaging. Because again, Bounce is just this amazing brand where our purpose is all about getting people to express themselves, and we are there to inspire movement, and it's about human connection. So when your purpose is that, your content is naturally brilliant. We've got great content of kids doing flips and tricks, and our tribe, which is what we call all our staff and even ourselves, do an amazing job on the floor. So we've got, they've got great stories, and we do those stories as well on organic socials. We've got great engagement. Very rarely do we ever need to do anything more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on which social platform does the brand live mainly?
Mainly probably Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably by far the biggest platform for us.
Because you've been using it for a long time.
Yeah, we have, and I think consumers today have also moved to Insta, kind of not, I don't want to say abandon Facebook, because I think we slam Facebook for being old school, but I think the Meta backend still does quite a lot with Facebook, and for awareness, it's still a decent platform, but certainly Insta is where a lot of our engagement comes from.
What about TikTok?
TikTok is something new. So we've just ventured into TikTok. We started organically about a year and a half ago, and we started developing our organic content. And we're learning, we were learning. It's a learning process. TikTok has its own algorithm, its own trends. It's quite different. And it's more entertainment than anything else. So we've kind of hooked on to that. And we've just started doing kind of paid TikTok this year, like latter end of this year.
Do you use the same content for Instagram and TikTok?
No, absolutely not. Because I think that's a mistake that a lot of marketeers make, right? You make one piece of, like, a key visual or key piece of content, and then you chop, and you think that, yeah, this dimension will work for this dimension will work for that. Doesn't mean it doesn't work for some, but you also need to understand the platforms and the way they work and what content gets picked up and then kicked out to, a wider audience. And that's very different on TikTok. So you've got to treat it differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I fully agree. Okay. And paid TikTok, is it working for you?
Don't know yet. We've just started, so we need to give it about 3 months to really evaluate how it's going.
Yeah, it's good that you live as well on TikTok, because what I've done some tests in the past for some clients that don't live, for example, on TikTok, ran ads, and on Snapchat as well. The brands don't live there, so users haven't been seeing the brand there.
Correct.
Ads don't work.
Correct.
Right? When the brand lives on a platform and you run ads, it works way better.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why we started strategically going organic first and then stepping into paid.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? So let's say you shoot a piece of content, and that piece of content you use it with different editing for TikTok and Instagram, or you shoot completely different pieces of content?
There have been instances when we've done both things. So sometimes, if, let's say, it's we've storyboarded out a certain, let's say, promotion, and we've gone out and we've shot it, and then when we shoot, our videographer will do it in a way that he knows that, okay, we've got to shoot for, portrait, and, he knows the sizes, and he'll think about certain shots that he can repurpose just for TikTok, and the rest will go on YouTube and everything. There are other times when it just simply doesn't work. We've got to go out and do something a little bit crazier for TikTok. Yeah.
Okay, good. Makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you measure your ROI for social, Google, and let's say other activations?
I think, again, good question. Look, we have overall sort of KPIs where we look at, obviously our total spend versus your revenue top line, and we do our ROI that way, which is a big, broad KPI. But I think applying that across all platforms is wrong. I think there are different measures because it's engagement and, it's views, and there are lots of different KPIs. So I think ROI on all platforms is probably the wrong approach. You've really got to treat the platforms the way they are. Yeah, have a broad sense of, you should know what your ROI is in general and then on each platform. But you'll also find that it goes up and down depending on what's trending, what's not, and if you were part of the trend or not, how much money you're investing, because we know when you overinvest, that affects ROI, especially on social. So it depends.
Yeah. Especially that Bounce is online purchases and offline as well.
Correct.
So you're putting a lot of Google ads, but people might come out end up buying it from.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. I like that. So you look at like you measure your CAC, and you don't necessarily measure your CPA, because your CPA is a bit difficult.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like that. Makes sense. Do you work with marketing agencies, freelancers, or in-house staff? And what works best for you?
So we are a very lean team at Bounce, and we've been that way. So we do everything internally except for digital media planning and buying. everything else is done internally. So we do, I mean, from everything from strategy to managing organic social to producing our own content. And also just, even in terms of retention, we are currently doing that on our own as well. So everything in-house. So no creative agencies, PR agencies, yes, because we sort of dip in the PR pool only when we do launches. But influencer management, everything is managed internally. It's just that digital piece that we work with partner.
What's the structure of the marketing team? So there's you and
Yep. So there's myself, and then I've got a marketing manager, digital marketing manager, and 2 content guys.
okay.
So really lean.
And these, so your team is for all the bounce outlets in the region, or
Yeah, absolutely. So we manage 8 bounce venues across the region.
okay, from here, from
From here,
your
yep.
Dubai
Yeah,
office.
absolutely.
Interesting. Good. And okay, so you work with agencies for your paid media.
Yep.
So your Google social ads.
Absolutely.
Which agency do you use?
You should know this one, Igloo.
Nice. Good. Okay, so because you've tried different ways, you've tried hiring all the people in-house, it didn't work. You tried to outsource everything, didn't work. You tried freelancers, it didn't work.
No, I think again we follow structure. Remember, we are an international brand, so we also have we have expertise. I think when they set up in Dubai, there were expertise that they leaned on with the Australian team and kind of looked at how they were set up, and they were also very in-house run. And I think it's just digital pieces that they went outside for, and I think they followed that structure internally. Now, working with Igloo, obviously to do all of that digital buying and sort of planning and buying, but I also have a digital marketing manager internally. So, and she's sort of, the eyes and the ears and does all the strategy work with Igloo. And she's also very much an expert in the digital space across all platforms. So we have that internally and obviously extend out to Igloo family.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Why?
There's never been any experimentation with trying to do everything internally. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm trying to understand, like, why do you separate? So why the digital buying with an agency and why the social media in-house?
Well, no, but it's only organic social that's in-house, but paid social is all out. So everything paid is what we do with the external, with Igloo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's my question. Yeah. So why would you not hire a paid team in-house, or why would you not outsource your organic social?
I think
to an agency?
I think organic social, again, because we're such a unique brand, I think, and we get so much content from our venues that it makes sense for that own channel to stay internal. And it's also not, we don't believe that is a completely full-time job. So, there are other things that the person handling social media does for us as well.
Okay.
Yep.
And the media buying, why do you rather keep it with an agency and not
because that's a bigger piece, right? That's where our main investment is. In fact, that's where all our investment is most of the year. And to manage that across multiple venues gets very cumbersome for an internal team.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we outsource that because if you try to do that internally, then the digital marketing team would have to be multiple layers.
That's true.
People go on leave, people leave. So we've got to, for continuity, for consistency, it makes sense to outsource that piece.
Yeah. Especially for a brand that is your size.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of attention.
Yep.
You spend quite a bit. So you need a certain expertise. And like you said, you cannot have like a person that drops the ball or something happens with analytics, he doesn't know how to fix it. You're working with an agency that has all the expertise.
Correct.
And like senior people, if someone leaves, at least you know that someone else is going to handle it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense. And social, it makes sense to have it in-house because it's a lot of ad hoc. You have a lot of activities. You have different locations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Good stuff. And like you said, the PR agency, you use it.
We just dip in and out when we need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
As well, it makes sense. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you personally invest in personal branding? If yes, why? And what are the benefits you're getting from it?
Personal branding.
I see you doing some stuff on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, look, if that's considered personal branding, I absolutely love to. It's I'm an introvert. You know this about me, so it's not that I'm. Yes, I am. So it's not like I'm out at networking events, sort of building that personal brand. But there are select events, conferences that I will go to, where I'm, and it's and mostly ones where I will learn something new. So in recent times, it's been very CX related. So because that's where I think, obviously I want to learn and grow as well. And then other areas where it's supporting women in business, because I'm kind of passionate about that, mentoring. So I sort of, in those areas, I will make myself seen and heard. And yeah, you've seen, obviously, when I find something interesting, I will obviously, go on LinkedIn and share what I feel needs to be shared on that platform. But otherwise, not really. Because obviously I'm at work most of the day, and keeping your visibility alive even at work is across multiple venues, across multiple geographies is a challenge in itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you take part of your marketing budget to test out a new challenge? If yes, how and why do you do so?
Absolutely. So this is what, part of being at Bounce is all about, because we're not afraid to test and try. And even with your team, and I think your team is who we test a lot with, obviously any type of new campaign, we are ready to jump on board and test and try, obviously based on recommendations. There are ones which have worked really successfully for us, and there are ones where we've canned, after about, a month of testing. But we're never afraid to test. And I think that this is where a big opportunity lies for marketeers today anyway. You gotta be able to test, you gotta be able to try new things. You can't be happy with the status quo, because we know that the marketing landscape, especially in the digital space, is evolving so fast. Fast. I mean, look, you can wake up tomorrow and something's changed in the algorithm and something's changed in the back end.
There's a new platform.
There's a brand new platform. We all love GA4.
Yeah.
But it's so you got to be able to you got to be able to be willing to test and try.
Yeah.
Have to. And I think that's a massive opportunity that lies in marketing today.
How do you go about it? So you say, I'm going to test out a small percentage of my marketing budget every month.
What we do is we carve out. So if you know that there is something that, let's say it's, when Performance Max campaigns came along and, knocked on our door, and obviously we heard from Team Igloo say, a new campaign type, we should try it, we should test it. But, it's got to learn, you've got to give it 6 weeks to learn. None of that was very comfortable for us. We'd rather, so we had a choice, do we carve out a small amount of budget and test it, or do we do the same old where we know we're going to get traction? So what we did was we started off with allocating small amounts of budget until it proved itself, and then we went sort of all in when we were sure that it was giving us return.
Makes sense. What did you say about GA4? You liked it or you don't?
Look, do I have a choice? No, look, I most of my marketing life, we UA was what we knew and loved, and GA4. Look, I'm learning to love it, because it's a much neater platform, and I think it's based on sort of events and behaviors, which is probably the way everything is changing anyway now, with privacy policies and cookies dropping away. So it's probably a smart move, and it's got some really cool reporting features. So. Yeah, getting comfortable with it now.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
It's good that you asked. I like the previous. I know what you mean.
Yep.
Maybe the user experience is nice,
yeah,
but I like the older version, more detailed. Of course, because it had more data.
Exactly, it had more data. Correct. But maybe we don't need to see all that data. And I think again, that's a challenge for marketeers today, right? There's overwhelming amounts of data, not just on the platforms you're on, back-end analytics, but also internally, right? We've got customer data. So I think part of a challenge for a marketeer today is to know what data to look at and what to kind of filter out. Otherwise, you're gonna die of data overload.
Yeah, I'm sure Camille doesn't agree with you.
Camille loves data. In fact, I've just come from a reporting session with your team. Yeah. So, my brain is swimming with numbers at the moment.
Yeah, I think when you're like, I'm a performance guy as well, right? So I love data analytics, and it's always analyzing, and that's what that's what analytics is. That's why analytics is exciting. And the new analytics, you just have to, sometimes export stuff to Excel and just do your own formulas, which is a bit, at times consuming. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Like for example, one small thing, conversion rate. right? By channel.
Yeah.
Doesn't give you a percentage of a
No.
conversion rate.
No, it doesn't. You gotta, yeah, you gotta do that anyway. True.
Yeah, like one small thing, right?
Correct.
Especially if you want to compare like now where we are when we were compared. Like I was just doing a report looking at last November versus
we can't
November
do that.
2023. Just have to export it, do your own formula. You know.
Yeah, that I tell you what. Until so we switched over to GA4 in March, and currently just doing year-on-year comparison has been a pain because UA doesn't track the same way. So even if you look, I mean, just we were looking at users, and if you look at users on your website, the numbers are dramatically different, but it's because they're tracking differently.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know whether is your campaign underperforming, overperforming, or is it because they're tracking differently? And we just had this discussion with Kamil.
Yeah.
And it is tracking differently.
User traffic versus user traffic versus session traffic.
Exactly.
So now user shows you first time users.
Exactly.
And then,
it's all different, and I do miss my bounce rates.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's something that you have to do as well manually now.
That's right.
All right. Do you apply different marketing strategies for different markets? If yes, how and why?
Yeah, you have to. One size does not fit all. I mean, take two of our Emirates where we are present, where we have bounce venues, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Completely different behaviors in terms of, the demographic makeup is quite different, right? So the demographic makeup is quite different in the two Emirates. So Abu Dhabi, very Emirati, sort of Arab family heavy, and obviously Dubai is your cosmopolitan, more expat heavy Emirate. You can't apply the same strategies.
Which channels, on which mediums?
I mean, even let's take a simple thing like language. The way you break down language, even on social, the split between Arabic, English.
Yeah,
you have to change strategy between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So Dubai, you can actually do everything in English if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But Abu Dhabi, you certainly have to invest in more Arabic. So even small strategies like that, and then there are certain things that work better and don't work better in the different markets. So
you have social platform pages for Dubai and for Abu Dhabi, or the same page?
No, it's the same page.
Okay.
It's the same page. So actually, for the entire region,
Yeah.
we go as Bounce Midis across all our platforms.
So how do you then do it if you're targeting, let's say, posts for Saudi Arabia?
Well, I mean, there's an interesting way that is organic. It's easy because we'll mention which venue it is very, very clearly. There's a way that we do that on organic social. But obviously, if it's paid, it's easy because you just target the Saudi audience or the Qatar audience or whatever that is. So that's quite easy.
So how do you do it? Like if you post something for Saudi, how do you mention?
You need to go on Insta and
I'm just asking for the audience.
I know. No, we look. There's a very clear way that they do it. So on the post you'll immediately see Bounce Jeddah, on that, or Bounce Riyadh, or Bounce Qatar.
Yeah.
So you know immediately that it's about Bounce Qatar, and then whatever the rest of the content is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then of course for ads is easy.
Yeah, ads is easy.
I see. What are the top 2 marketing trends you see in the Middle East, and what are your thoughts about them?
Wow. Lots going on in the Middle East, but I think 2 big things that we're seeing at the moment. We talked about one just now, which is TikTok. So we're seeing, I think I read a stat a couple of days ago that 67% of UA users are on TikTok now, and it's the 3rd most used platform. So that's big, and obviously that's a trend marketers need to jump on and be there if it's suitable for your brand. And the other one I would say is WhatsApp. WhatsApp for Business is a big platform. I mean, I think all of us have been inundated with WhatsApps from businesses that know us. We're sort of dipping our toes into that area at the moment, testing and trying and seeing what kind of results we get. Yep. So we've just started some WhatsApp broadcast messages. We've been doing it over the last 2 months, just testing.
I'm so annoyed of these WhatsApp messages, man.
It's funny because I expected more people to block us, but that's not been the case. It's
not
been
you, but like now I'm receiving every day. I receive a WhatsApp message from a brand, and like more than one. I was man,
what do you do? Do you delete or block?
I just block.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm thinking because I don't know how it works yet. Like I received from Noon, for example, right? I blocked, but I was and some other brands that I can't remember now that I use on a regular basis.
So you shouldn't
like Namshi and Unas, I remember.
Yeah.
So I blocked them. And
Oh,
I'm like,
that's not a good idea, because if you block them, let's say you were expecting a delivery or you want to get in touch with
but
them.
that's what
you
I
have a
was
chat.
wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't block them.
But why would they use WhatsApp then for delivery? And
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know what they use for delivery,
it's a bit
because
too personal. And SMS as well. Like we're so annoyed. Maybe we're gonna get used to it. Like SMS, I receive messages every day from
yeah. And but see, with SMSs, they have the AD now, right? In the UAE, you have to put ad in front of whatever brand you're in. So I don't think that's as effective, because as soon as you see an SMS come in and it says AD, you just delete it, right? I think with WhatsApp, you've got the opportunity to do it right because if it's your customer database, because remember, we don't do WhatsApp broadcast to people we don't know. We are very much in the space where we're talking to people who are our customers already.
Yeah.
So if your systems are smart enough to pick up their names, so you personalize the message, I think then there's opportunity there to not be so business-like, but to be far more personal with WhatsApp. And that's what we're trying.
Yeah, good. Do you have plans for Bounce to be in the metaverse?
Not at the moment, because I think look, we're very physical. You come to, what we do at Bounce, right? You got to come to our venue and you got to jump and we're all about human connection. That's one of our purposes, right? Part of our purpose is human connection. I think you lose that in the metaverse. So I think we're going to have to rethink our purpose.
You think?
I think we're going to have to rethink our purpose
Yeah.
if we venture into the metaverse. I mean, and part of Bounce, we actually have a VR business, the Arena Games, and that's virtual reality, and that's been fun, and that venue does really well, and there's a certain niche group of people who love that experience, gaming in another universe, but Bounce is very different from that. One of the things that we try to do is get kids off screens, because we want them to just come have fun, jump old school, and leave your iPads and phones behind, and de-stress and meet people, talk to people. And I think that, the metaverse is not that yet. And look, people, I don't know how much success people have had in the metaverse. Yet to be proven.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are your top 2 do's and 2 don'ts in marketing?
Top 2 do's and top 2 don'ts. Do's, I think, would be in marketing today: experiment. Never be afraid to experiment. Build great teams. I think that's critical. I think people don't spend enough time building team, and marketing teams specifically. You really got to spend time nurturing, growing talent. So I think 2 big do's. Got lots of other do's, but since you said 2,
Go ahead, say more. 2 more.
No, and I think the other one is just data. Never be afraid of data and diving into data and using data purposefully. I think there's a massive opportunity out there, especially today. Like I said, we're overwhelmed with data. We've got data from so many different sources, but it's exciting. But it's also how you use it, right? So I think that's a massive do as well there. Don'ts, I don't know. Wow, I don't know what my don'ts would be. I can't think of don'ts at the moment.
In marketing?
In marketing,
what should you not do? Let's say.
I think following formula. Just doing something just because you've done it before. That's a bad idea. And I think also not evolving your brand, and that's something I enjoy about my role, which is you've got to evolve your brand to change with changing customer needs and market conditions. You've got to do that. And I think sitting back and saying, yep, I'm market leader and I don't have to do anything to evolve my brand is wrong. So that's something you've got to spend time doing. That brand story, that narrative, you've got to continue to evolve it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And the opposite as well is true. Like what you said, like hire the right team. Because I'm working at a, what we do, like a marketing agency. So we meet a lot of people, a lot of clients.
Correct.
And they say, we have a guy that does our SEO and PPC and social media. And that's like a junior guy that has a couple of years of experience, definitely no experience in Google ads or how to build the right landing pages, how to create the right SEO structure, the on-page structure, or how to build backlinks on SEO. The social media, this person is not creative, doesn't know the channels. So you're right, definitely work. And I think that's what like what I think leaders, CEOs, general managers, directors should do is really learn about marketing.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
just drop it. They think they're gonna hire someone that they need. Because
Nah.
that's the right. That's what helps businesses grow anyway.
No, I think it's critical that marketing gets face time across the board. And I mean, at Bounce, and you, because you work with us, you know this. But obviously, we've got a CEO who is very interested in marketing. Actually, when they started back in 2014, I think he was in the back end doing his own marketing, doing Facebook ads by himself. And because of that hands-on experience, he gets it,
Yeah.
and is very interested in brand and evolution and all of that. So we've got an organization where everyone's interested in brand, and what we do as a team is that every month we circulate a report internally, which is not a report for being a sake of a report, but it's just the highlights, it's the insights, things that we've learned via marketing, and we share it across the board with and not just leadership team, but it's venue managers, it's everybody, and it's that education process, right? It's getting them to learn. But you're right about the right marketing team internally needs to be they're strategic people, but if they've had experience having done back end, especially in the digital space, that helps. But then they need to evolve into something bigger, because you've got great expertise in agencies like Igloo, where they are the hands-on people. They are the guys who are messing around with the platforms and watching your ads day and night, and watching performance and optimizing constantly. So you have to complement that with your internal people and make sure that they're able to work, and you're not doubling up on talent and expertise and skills, but you're complementing, and that's really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're out of time. One last thing to leave the audience with.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like that. I like that. What?
What?
What shall we leave them
What should
with?
we leave them with?
Cupcakes.
Cupcake sounds really good. I haven't had lunch, so cupcake sounds really great.
Shawarma sandwich.
Yeah, shawarma sandwich somewhere good. Nah, I don't know. I think, look, I think, I think taking time, one, I'm a big believer in taking time to learn, to grow, read, and actually Bounce is all about that. In fact, we all read books as a team, and we're going through that at the moment. But it's applying those incremental changes wherever you can, and I think that's something really critical and important for people to adopt and live by. And if you're not constantly learning, if you're not curious about what's going on, you don't belong in marketing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you've got to be curious, and you've got to explore those curiosities.
Yeah. Especially now, digital marketing.
Exactly.
Completely. Before it's like advertising. Okay, buy banners, indoor, outdoor, whatever.
Exactly. Never be curious. It's constant. Because there's something new to learn always. So never stop learning. Never stop being curious.
You're right. And actually, different skills now. You require different skills as a person, different interests as a person than the old school marketing people, right? Old school marketing people where they had a certain personality. And now, like if you want to be in social, you gotta learn, how social works. And if you're in performance,
it's completely
different game.
Your
right?
data, you're drowning in data, and you're constantly looking at interesting things.
Yes,
so,
you're right.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's very different. But you gotta constantly be learning and growing. And I mean, your team does that well. I mean, Kamil never stops learning. He's constantly teaching us new things. So
that's true.
That's good fun.
Yeah, good to have you.
Thanks
for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.